Hello. I feel like I haven't been on YouTube for a few days. It's all a journey, this in lockdown, isn't it? I've got myself a little dressed up and a little made up today just because I wanted to make a special effort. I, I've been talking about death and how we need to accept it and lose our fear of death. And the reason for that, the reason why that's important is because until we do accept death and her natural part of life, then all our efforts to save humanity are just a waste of time. You'll save some humans, and if they're still afraid of death, they will still go down the wrong road, trying to survive at all costs. And we know what the costs are. The costs are at the our extinction, imminent extinction of life on Earth. That's the cost. So do you want that to happen again? I don't think so. So this is intended to be one of two videos, and this one to be more light-hearted. It may or may not be. I wanted to, pay tribute to a famous author, Sir Terry Pratchett, who is not in this world in a physical form anymore, but very much alive to me through his books and work. I discovered him actually I don't know, what would it be, 4 years ago? Can't count, doesn't matter the count. It was not long before Terry actually did die, and after he had talked about death himself at some length. This author who produced the Discworld books, in which my favourite character resides, Death is my favourite character. Yes, this author is very important to me in my life. I found that with other people in my life, that they're almost loom larger and are more important and more influential, have more impact, are with me more thoroughly in their death than they were in their lives. Anyway, I'm not here to talk about the real people in my life and my friends. The tribute is more than anything about the anthropomorphic personification of the character Death. Death, as we know it, is not a person, not a human, is a form of existence, an entity maybe. Terry has anthropomorphized death into what feels like a living character. And I love this character. This is what I want to share with you. I love this character, Death, since the moment he was introduced to me, and it will never end. He is unique. He is adorable. He has his weaknesses, but he is utterly strong. Words could go on and on trying to describe death. And it is this character which has helped me enormously in processing and producing my philosophy on death and our need to accept its existence in our lives in a way that we do not yet, but in a way that we direly need to. I'll just show you my favorite possession is a journal that I bought at the shop where Terry Pratchett's books and paraphernalia are sold. And last time I went, there was this book, which is a journal, and it's Death and Friends. That's the illustrations inside the journal. And there's an illustration of death there in the middle. But I'll show you another illustration on the bookmark. There he is. Such a character. You need to believe in things that aren't true. How else can they become? He says. You need to believe in things that aren't true. How else can they become? How wonderful is that? Of course, they're Terry Pratchett's words, but when you read about death, it's totally and utterly believable that death is a person and has said those words. There's another one there. I'm not going to show you because I've written on those pages. Yeah. There's a nice one. Talking to the death of rats. This book is a delight, and I saved it to write in as a journal till this year, 2020. I always knew it was going to be a special big year, and it really is, isn't it? Coronavirus and lockdown. How much bigger could it have been? Yeah, but there are bigger things yet to come. So I'm writing in this journal now, this year. This is my journal for 2020. Look at the lovely inside cover. What this character brings to me is joy. He brings laughter. He brings comfort. He brings excitement and adventure. He brings the unknown. He brings anything but the things that people normally think are brought by death. He does not bring me sadness. He does not bring me despair. He does not bring me mourning. And in case anyone's thinking, oh, this is very man-orientated. What's the word for it? Patriarchal. In fact, in my favourite book, which is called Soul Music, in which death appears a lot. Death has to take a little holiday because it all gets too much for him. And what happens is his granddaughter takes over for him for a while. Yeah. It's interesting what happens, of course, with his granddaughter. Susan takes over for him. And I love that too. So death doesn't necessarily have to be a male, masculine. There is nothing about this character which I do not love. And through this, though I already was happy with the idea of death, I already knew that my friends were still with me more in death than in life. I already knew that. But when I came across Terry Pratchett and Discworld books and Death, the character, it kind of solidified the philosophy that I had been building about death and how we need to accept death and all the implications thereof, which are massive and for most people would go against the grain and they would not accept the implications. But still, I must talk about these things. Yeah. Strangely, I can't seem to say more than this character has helped me even more than I already did to love death, to find joy in death in all sorts of ways. And I'm here because I really wish that I can share that with as many people as possible so that that horrible fear of death can be eliminated. There's no need. I'll tell you what we need to fear is suffering. That's an entirely different matter. Actually dying, which is passing from life to death, and suffering, that's where we need to be concerned. That's where we need to put our compassion. Death is the release into peace. And more than that, there can be joy. There can be joy about death. And Sir Terry Pratchett has illustrated this, at least for me, and it's a wonderful thing. Some people have said to me when I've said about accepting death, well, you be the first to go then. Okay, well, I'm ready. I can always create more things to do. Every day I create more things to do. I'm a creative person and lateral thinker. So whether I like it or not, I keep making more things to do. But I've done the important things. I was there for my offspring to make sure that they could grow up and be okay. And they are. And I've talked about death in the way that I wanted to already and shared that in books and on videos. I've danced, I've sung. There's always more of these things I can do. I made amazing clothes and wore them. I've been a rebel. I still am. And so that would be enough. I don't think I want to be around if the apocalypse is upon us in further down the road. I don't want to live in a world where water doesn't come out the taps or electricity isn't in the house, or the sewage doesn't get taken away. Yeah, I don't. When I was younger, I could have coped with all that much more easily, but not now. So yeah, let me go. I guess I'd like to go and have as much meaning to it as possible. Like, if I'm out there protesting, rebelling, and making a difference in a big way, that would be the best way to go. Not sure any of that's going to happen. So I'm making videos for the time being and try to do a bit of being serious and share a bit of humour. Yeah. So I'll leave this with you. My lovely, lovely death. I love death. You need to believe in things that aren't. How else can they become true? There is one illustration, I was trying to save it for you, which is death on his wonderful steed, who's called Binky of all things. Look at this. Look at this. That's death on his wonderful steed. How can you not love that character? Okay, so I'll check this out. Yeah. I'll be back soon. I've got supposedly the serious death video to make. I'm doing what I can. Bye-bye.